Well, hello, Deep Wealth Nation, and welcome, movers, shakers, and empire builders. Welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. And for this episode, it's a solo episode. What I wanted to do, I wanted to break some myths, cut through the fluff, and really get down to business to help you with your success. And so, what I want to talk about today, I want to rip apart an old myth that we hear time and time again, and it's all about work life balance. I don't believe in work life balance, it doesn't exist. If you want work life balance, look to the movies, look to the books. For me, it's all about work life blending. And I'll share my personal journey, my insights, strategies from Deep Wealth Mastery, the 9 step roadmap, everything that you need to know of how you can blend to get your success on the personal side, on the business side, because I want you to forget everything that you've been told about keeping your work and your personal life in separate corners, as though they can't stand each other. Think about that for a moment. That's outdated. That was never true to begin with, especially in today, what seems like a 24/7 world. So the idea of work-life balance, it's a mirage for the weary and a distraction for the ambitious. But instead, we're going to talk about blending. Yes, blending. This is where you're merging the vigor of your entrepreneurial drive with the richness of your personal life. It doesn't get any better. And this is not just a concept. I've practiced it. And this is a practice art by those who are really leading the change in their fields. And I want you to do the same. Because when you think about it, we are standing on the shoulders of giants from research, tried and true principles of wealth mastery. And we're going to dive into what makes work life blending not just a buzzword or a fancy term, but an actual action plan from the trenches. We'll dissect how integrating your work and personal life doesn't just add to your success. Believe it or not, and you better believe it, it actually multiplies it. So, this episode is not for the faint of heart. It's for the doers and for the daring. Because if you're ready to challenge the status quo, and we're always doing that here at Deep Wealth, if you're ready to redefine what success looks like on your terms, you're in the right place with the right episode. So, let's get ready to blend your way to greatness. And before we do, a word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth Mastery. We have William, a graduate of Deep Wealth Mastery, and he says, I didn't have the time for Deep Wealth Mastery, but I made the time and I'm glad I did. What I learned goes far beyond any other executive program or coach I've ever experienced. Or how about Bruce? Bruce says, before Deep Wealth Mastery, the challenge I had with most business programs, coaches, or books was that they were one dimensional. Through the Deep Wealth Mastery program, I'm part of a richer community of other successful business owners. The ideas shared forever changed the trajectory of the business, and best of all, the experience was fun. And we'll round things out with Stacy. Stacy said, I wish I had access to the Deep Wealth Mastery before my liquidity event, as it would have been extremely helpful. Deep Wealth Mastery exceeded my expectations in terms of content and quality. And Deep Wealth Mastery is the only system based on a 9-figure deal, my deal. As you know, I said no to a 7-figure offer. I created this system that later helped myself and my business partners welcome from a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure deal. So if you're interested in growing your profits, preparing for a future liquidity event, if that's in 2 years or 20 years, and optimizing your post-exit life, Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. Please email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, success, at deepwealth.com. We'll send you more information about that. That's where you want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, founders just like you who are looking to create market disruptions, lock in their financial freedom, and have success and fulfillment. That's the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program. It has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Send an email to success@deepwealth.com. So, with all that said, let's talk about the concept of work life blending. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again right now. That old school notion of work life balance, it's outdated. It's outdated as dial up internet, if you can think about that in the age of broadband. We live in a world where technology has absolutely obliterated the boundaries between work and personal life. It's not about balancing anymore. It never was about balancing. It's always been about blending. Let's look at some of the research of work-life dynamics, which shows a significant shift. A study published in Frontiers, it highlights the urgency to understand work-life blending and the impact on your well-being, and as it goes without saying, your quality of life. And what the study shows, having flexibility in work arrangements significantly affects the performance of the team, the performance of the company. But here's where it gets interesting. The study, unlike many other studies, it argues that for a holistic approach, incorporating factors from both professional and personal spheres to truly grasp the dynamics of work life blending. So think about that for a moment. As entrepreneurs listening to this podcast, the Deep Wealth podcast, we're hitting the treadmill or the brainstorming or the next big move on a hike. The lines have blurred, and really, it's about time. Work isn't just something to do, it's part of who you are. And your personal life, with all its richness, shouldn't be put into silos. McKinsey has insights, and they point here that they found that sharing home responsibilities equal among dual career couples led to significantly lower burnout rates. So I want you to imagine for a moment that principle of how you blend work with your personal life is not just good sense, it's good business. Same gender couples, often free from traditional gender norms, they excel at this blending, divvying up household chores based on practicality rather than outdated expectations. And they respond dynamically to work life challenges, a practice that any entrepreneur worth their salt should begin to do. But let's not sugarcoat this because the danger of slipping into workaholism, it's real. Hey, I've been there too many times to count. Not pleasant. I never want that for you. And in fact, in Deep Wealth Mastery, we deliberately steer you away from working too many hours, burning the candle at both ends. We have built in time off because the goal here is not to let work consume your life, but work instead should be enriching it. It's about finding the blend where your professional drive fuels your personal passions and your personal passions fuel your professional drive. And it becomes a very positive feedback loop. So for all you entrepreneurs out there, for everyone in Deep Wealth Nation, let's now redefine success. It's not just about the bottom line. It's about how you integrate your work into a fulfilling life. By the way, as I talk about this, I'm specifically thinking about the post-exit life. We talk all about this in Deep Wealth Mastery. And if you know my story, that's the one area I failed miserably. I had the success without the fulfillment. I had this magnificent exit. I had financial freedom, but I was miserable. The post-exit life was absolutely non-existent or terrible in the sense of not having fulfillment because it was all about the work and not the personal. And so we reverse engineered that and put that back into the program where ahead of time you plan your post-exit life where it's not just success, it's fulfillment. That's a true marker of success. And one thing that you can think about, I want you to start experimenting with your work-life blend. What does that look like for you? Mix things up, try it. Some things are going to work, do more of it. Some things are not going to work, stop doing those, but find what that looks like for you. And I'll share a little bit for you from the personal side. Going back to the early days when I was just getting Embanet going, there was a lot of hours that was taking place. I had a young family at the time. One of the things that I would do, there would be lots of conferences where I'd go to the trade show, I would work the floor, I would shake hands, do all those things. Some of those conferences were in Orlando, and in Orlando, as you know, it's Walt Disney World, and you also have Universal. So I brought the family with me. We made it a bit of an extended weekend. I went for the conference. Most of the conferences usually ended on the Thursday or Friday. The family was there, and then we enjoyed the weekend. And in this way, it was blending the fun with the business. The two became interchangeable. It's terrific memories to this day for the family, for me, and the company was growing while I was doing that. It doesn't get any better. After a long day, you're on the trade show floor or you're shaking all kinds of hands, going back to the hotel room. The family is there talking about the day. It was really recharging. Now, I could say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be there on my own, going back to an empty hotel room at the end of the day, at the end of activities, not as fun. So that's where personal blending absolutely works. And as I'm thinking about this, I'm actually thinking of Steve Wells, one of the business partners from Embanet, who would drive from Orlando to Toronto. His family would be with him. His wife, Christy, would be driving the car. He'd be there. He'd be on the phone during the work hours, speaking to our team, strategizing, planning, but it was blending on the road trip. And they deliberately did a road trip over flying because they wanted to have that family time. And so when it wasn't work hours, when he wasn't speaking with the team, they were doing the different sites along the way, and they really made it an adventure. That's another way that you can blend your way to success. So let's understand more of this work-life balance. I gave you some very personal examples, but let's get to the meat of it, something called the work-family border theory. Now, if you haven't heard of this, that's okay. I want you to picture this though. Life as a series of borders or boundaries, not walls. And these borders are where your professional and personal lives touch, they intersect. And yes, sometimes they're going to clash. Hey, life is not perfect, but we look at those moments and we learn from them. So it's not just about managing a border crossing, it's about knowing when to blur the lines and when to draw them clearly. So here's where it gets interesting. What the research shows that navigating these dynamics, it's not a one size fits all approach. We're talking really a complex dance of individual preferences, organizational structures, and believe it or not, societal norms. What's going to work for you? What's in your culture? What's in the norm of your family or the society that you're living in may not be the same for someone else. So it's highly customizable, highly individualistic. So you have some freedom with this. The way you manage the ebb and flow of your daily tasks, the integration of your work into your personal space, and vice versa, it's all part of a bigger picture of a work-life blending. But I don't want you to take that just from me. What the studies have shown that flexibility in work arrangements. So I want you to think remote work, flexible hours, even job sharing can significantly impact not just employee performance, but obviously the overall well-being of life satisfaction. And between you and me, Deep Wealth Nation, I've never got it with these employers who believe that butts in the seats is the only way to go. Yes, in certain instances, in manufacturing, as an example, you don't have a choice. People have to be on the manufacturing floor and they have to be there. But for what we'll call knowledge workers, it's a different kind of model. And if your employees are happy, if your team members are happy, that's going to translate into their job performance. They're happier in their job. Your clients are happier. Growth, profits, revenues, it's all going to increase. It goes hand in hand. We're helping our team, who in turn are helping us. So understand that boundaries are incredibly personal. What works for one person may or may not work for another person, but the dynamics at play are as unique as a fingerprint. Consider for a moment the implications of this. In an age where remote work, for the most part, has become the norm for many, the physical boundaries between work and home, for many, they're not there, it's disappeared. But the psychological boundaries, they're temporary. They matter more than ever. It's about crafting a life. And this is where you can help your team craft a life that fuels your passion, their passion for life, and also both your and their personal pursuits to invigorate the work. So, for all the business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders in Deep Wealth Nation that you're listening in right now, think about how to apply this to your own life and your business. And I want you to remember this, that your approach to blending work and life should be as strategic and as thoughtful as your business plan. Now, remember, regular check ins with yourself, being honest about what's working, what's not working, and being willing to adjust on the fly is absolutely key. And as you navigate this dynamic, keep in mind that the ultimate goal is not prioritizing work over life or life over work. It's about creating a synergistic blend. There's that word again, blend, where each enhances the other. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 4 or 10 or 100. Because that synergistic blend, when we do it right, it leads to a richer and more fulfilling existence. That's the kind of strategy that not only elevates your business, but it elevates your life. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Whoever said that business is not personal has never been in business. They've never owned a business. Of course, it's personal. If it's not right on the inside, it's not going to be right externally. In other words, we manifest the thoughts and feelings that are inside of us into our external world. So let's take a step back for a moment and let's look at that work-family border theory with a fresh set of eyes. And let's take it from theory to actual from the trenches strategies that work. So when you think of your life as a series of interconnected spaces, instead of isolated compartments, the challenge and the opportunity, it's one and the same, lie in managing the flow between these spaces, your professional and your personal life. It's about strategic integration. And it's actually this strategic integration, that's a concept that's deeply rooted in our Deep Wealth Mastery approach. Remember, Deep Wealth Mastery is not just about financial success. It's about enriching every facet of your life. And for Deep Wealth Nation, the Deep Wealth Podcast, it's all about extracting, this is our tagline, both your personal and your business deep wealth. We included both business and personal in there. So this includes how we blend work with our personal lives. So the work-family border theory, what it tells us, it shows us that effective work-life dynamics, it hinges on recognizing and respecting individual boundaries, preferences, and the way we live and run our lives. So let's now take this and I'm going to apply from Deep Wealth Mastery, the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap. As an example, step one, big picture. Now, normally for the business, we're talking about, well, what's the big picture goals for the business? What are some inflection points for the business that can put you out of business? Using the same principles, I want you to envision your business's future the same way now that you're going to envision your ideal work-life blend. What does it look like? How does it serve both your personal well-being and your professional aspirations? Do you have some blind spots in that area? As an example, are you a workaholic? Or if you're honest about it, are you taking perhaps a little bit too much time off? What are those blind spots? If you're not sure, ask people around you who you trust, who will give you the straight goods, and look at the big picture of what you want for that blending. Let's also talk about step number two, X factors. So when it comes to X factors in work-life blending, your X factors are your personal strengths, your preferences that influence how you integrate work and life. Leveraging these can make your work-life blend even more effective and fulfilling. As an example of that, I gave you that time where I would bring the family with me to the business conventions, where I'd be growing the business, but the family was there. So off hours, we're enjoying the theme parks or a particular city, wherever the case may be. It's doing that together. It's not one or the other. It's actually both. And I got to tell you, I would come out of those activities the better for it, because I would compare that to going to these trade shows on my own. I came back exhausted. I was on the trade show floor the entire time. I was talking business 24/7. There wasn't any personal part to it. I missed the family. I missed the lighter moments with that. When I blended it, that's when these trips actually became enjoyable. Step three, in the business side is the future buyer, but on the personal side, in this life blend, you're the buyer of the system. So what is that looking like for you? What's the narrative that you're going to tell yourself? As an example, is the narrative, well, I got to go to this trade show. I'm just going to go on my own. I'm just going to max it out morning to night, business, 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 all kinds of meetings. Okay, well, we kind of see where that's going. Not so exciting. Or is it going to be, hey, I'm going to this trade show, bringing the family with me. We're going to have some fun. Yes, it's business. I'm going to blend in some of the personal. When it's not trade show activities, it's going to be family activities. We're going to be creating magic moments that last a lifetime. How about step four, due diligence? Normally, due diligence, we think about that on the business side, but what about a personal due diligence internal audit? Assess your current work-life blend. Are there areas where work overshadows life or life overshadowing work? What are those? How can you recalibrate and strategize a more harmonious blend? Again, I'm not using the word perfection. I'm not using the word perfect. It's blend and it's harmony, a harmonious blend by putting the two together. It's almost like the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other. Same thing. We're people. People aren't businesses. Businesses aren't people. But when we blend the two, that's when we get the best of all worlds. Step five, winning mindset. How can you develop a winning mindset? How can you cultivate a mindset that values flexibility, adaptability, and where resilience is celebrated? Resilience is key. How can you embrace those fluid boundaries between work and life as opportunities for growth and learning? So as an example, the mindset that I began to create, it wasn't an all or nothing. I'm going to go to the trade show just on my own, or I'm going to go to a family vacation just on my own. No, it's combining the two. It's that winning mindset. I can combine work with my family, with my personal and the business, and I'm better for it. I'm happier. The business is happier. My prospective customers are happier. My customers are happier. I'm having a better time. Mindset is everything. Yes, my friends, welcome to the art side of a successful business, the art side of a successful liquidity event. Step six, when it comes to your advisory team. So just as in the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, we talk about how do you find your advisors? Where do you find them? The questions that you ask, how do you rank them? What are the scorecards? How do you know that you have the best advisor over any advisor? It's the same principle that we apply here. How do you surround yourself with mentors and peers who excel at work-life blending? Because their insights can be absolutely invaluable. And I want you to really push the boundaries here. When it comes to finding mentors, it doesn't just have to be someone who's here and now and alive. I have to share with you, some of my mentors, they are no longer here. They're no longer walking planet Earth. I read biographies. I read books. I felt as though I knew them. And what I love about books and biographies, and by the way, if you're not much for reading, get an audiobook. What I loved about that, in 3, 4 hours, a very successful person distilled their life experience for me to walk away with and to begin to apply immediately. So when it comes to your advisory team, pick carefully. Birds of a feather flock together. There's a reason that saying has been around for eons. Who you associate yourself with, that reflects who you are or who you're becoming. So choose very carefully. Let's now go to step 7, timing and execution. So on the business side, we're talking about the who, what, when, where, how to communicate and what you're going to be saying. But on the blending side, on the personal side, it's really the timing to your work-life dynamics. Know when you're pushing forward with work projects, when to prioritize your personal and family times for optimal results. It's interesting. I was speaking with a guest here on the Deep Wealth podcast, and this guest had to choose going to his daughter's graduation or going to meet the president. And the guest said, it was a very easy decision, Jeffrey. I said no to meeting the president. I would never want to miss my daughter's graduation. It wasn't even a decision to make because I had my priorities ahead of time. At the same time, I've had guests on the Deep Wealth podcast who have shared, Jeffrey, as successful as I am, I made sacrifices I'm not proud of. I cut short family relations. And now that I'm successful, now that I'm financially independent, I want to go back and mend those. But some of those people are no longer here. They've passed on. So I've seen both sides of it. And this is why when you can do the blending, the work-life blending, you know what your priorities are, what you're doing, what you're not doing, the timing around that. And then we go to managing your boundaries. So just like you manage business risks, you got to be proactive in both setting and communicating your boundaries to prevent work from encroaching on your personal life. So in Deep Wealth Mastery, we talk about this. When we do our Chief Exit Advisor coaching, our success coaching, we also talk a lot about this. As an example, one of our clients said, I want to enjoy myself. I've been working around the clock 7 days a week, too many years to count. One of the things that we did was we very deliberately said, okay, let's take Fridays off. What I want you to do right now, go to your calendar. And for this one particular client, book off every Friday as unavailable, busy. And you're going to treat that like the holy grail, not to be touched. Now, it goes without saying, are there going to be times where this client is going to have to work on the Friday? There will be times. Sometimes it just comes up. You can't deny that, but they're not going to beat themselves up over this. They know for the most part, more times than not, Friday's a day off. Sleep in, go to the movies, see friends, see family, sit at home, have a staycation for the Friday into the weekend, whatever it's going to be. They're managing the boundaries. In this case, the client told the assistant, hey, Fridays are off limits. If anything comes up on the Friday, you got to bounce it by me first. But generally, the answer is no. I don't even want to know about it unless it's something really important. Why can't you do the same? Do that right now. Perhaps that's the one action of the many actions. That's the one action coming out of this episode you can do is to say, okay, I'm going to have, it may not be Friday, it may be Monday, maybe Wednesday, whatever it is, but I'm going to book it off right now for the next 12 months and try it. It's an experiment. I also want you to seek your growth opportunities. You're always on the lookout for new ways to enrich both your professional and your personal life. We talk a lot about this in step 8, skeletons and Rembrandts. So on the business side, skeletons, that's what holds back our growth, lowers our profits. It can put us out of business. It can have us lose a deal. Rembrandts, those are X factors in areas that we are so world-class. Maybe didn't even know that it was there. That's why we call it Rembrandts in the attic that we're putting out for public display. That's where we're putting that out there for all of our stakeholders to know about. So for yourself, on the blending side, what are the skeletons? Is it a narrative, the wrong narrative that you're telling yourself? Are there habits that you shouldn't be doing? Are there habits that you should be doing that you're not doing? Whatever it is, remove those skeletons. And then in terms of the X factors, in terms of the Rembrandts, what are those for you? What do you enjoy? What do you enjoy doing? You may say, Jeffrey, I love going to the movies. When I'm at the movies, I get lost in another world. I come out so recharged and energized. I have all these ideas for the business, or it's the same thing with books or with travel, whatever it is. Find out what that is and seek those growth opportunities. So my last example, I'm taking Fridays off. Well, every Friday, I'm going to go to a movie, or I'm going to read a book or listen to an audio book, or I'm going to do an activity that leaves me energized and recharged. That's what we're doing to bring the best out of us. And then step 9, this is the launch plans. This is when we take our plans, we're looking at it, and we're adjusting regularly. Now, in the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery program, you're coming out with 26 specific launch plans that grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and ultimately optimize your post-exit life. Well, we now take that concept and this strategy and we apply it to the work-life blend. And this is where you're doing regular check-ins with yourself. This is absolutely crucial. What's working, what's not working in your work-life blend, and you make adjustments as you need to stay absolutely aligned and in focus with your goals. Now, remember, it's not about being 100% right all the time. It's about learning, it's about growing, it's about adjusting. So by approaching work-life blending with these strategic mindset of what we're doing in Deep Wealth Mastery, you're not only enhancing your personal well-being, but you're also setting the stage for sustained professional success. It's all about showing up. Woody Allen said, success is showing up 80% of the time. And it's that consistency day in, day out. If we're burnt out, if it's all work all the time, or the opposite of that, it's no work and it's all personal all the time, that's not going to work very well. It's a work-life blend. That's where I've got the best results. It's really about crafting a life where your business achievements and your personal fulfillment, they feed into each other. They lead to a richer, more rewarding journey. As an example, people often ask me, Jeffrey, with your 9-figure deal, why are you doing this? What gets you out of bed every day? Well, I know that Deep Wealth Mastery is literally changing the social fabric of society, one business owner and one liquidity event at a time. I know that people who go through the Deep Wealth Mastery program, they have more successful businesses. They're more profitable. They have bigger, more profitable liquidity events. They have more financial freedom. And with all of that, they can take an allocation of their wealth. They're not going to spend it all. And they can put that towards a foundation or a charity to really make a difference in a social cause. So for me, it's business, it's personal, it's blended the two into one, and it's literally changing the social fabric of society, one business owner and one liquidity event at a time. That's for me. What is it for you? What does that look like for you? It's really important that you get that. So remember, Deep Wealth Nation, the goal isn't just to succeed in business, but it is to succeed and thrive with fulfillment. Your work-life blend, it's a pivotal part of that equation. So let's embrace the complexity. Let's make some strategic choices and build not just wealth, but deep, lasting wealth that transcends financial success. So with all that said, let's talk about factors that influence the work-life blending. So we're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to dive into the trenches here of what makes or breaks the work-life blend. It's not about wishful thinking. This is not fluffy advice. It's about understanding the hard-hitting factors that actually influence how you mix the cocktail of your life and have it work. So first off, the personal angle, your preferences, strengths, weaknesses, and the non-negotiables. It's becoming brutally honest with yourself. What are you willing to bend on? What's set in stone? In Deep Wealth Mastery, we call those deal points and no-fly zones. And this self-awareness is not just about navel gazing, it's strategic self-knowledge that shapes how effectively you blend work with personal life. Then there's the organizational aspect. Listen, not all workplaces are created equal. Some are flexible, some aren't, some are more rigid. So where does your venture or your workplace fall? What's the culture like? Do you need to change your culture? Do you need to change your policies to accommodate the work-life blend? Remember, it has to work for you as much as it has to work about the team. And then let's talk about the elephant in the room, technology. In this digital age, the work follows us everywhere. It's like a shadow. We can't get rid of it. Emails during dinner, messages interrupting sleep. But here's the kicker. Technology is also what allows us to work from anywhere if we choose to give us the freedom to attend our kids' graduations, the soccer game. It's a double-edged sword, but it demands that we master the technology, not the other way around. And then at the same time, let's talk about societal norms and expectations. Whether you like it or not, we don't operate in a vacuum. So the prevailing attitude towards work, success, and the role of personal life, that really plays into how we navigate our work-life blend. Personally, I've stopped associating with people who give a badge of honor. I worked 100 hours this week. How about you, Jeffrey? How often did you work? How many hours were you working? That's not where I want to be. What I find so ironic in that, you're destroying your health. You're confusing activity with progress because it's about the outcomes. If I can get my biggest achievement in 1 hour versus 100 hours, why not do that? Why have this stupid badge of honor of how many hours a week that we're working? So here's the deal. Blending work and life, it's not about finding some kind of mythical balance. Again, balance doesn't exist. Instead, it's creating a dynamic. It has to work for you. And it's influenced by your mix of your personal insights, how your company operates, your technology, and how you view societal norms. Chart your own path. Put yourself with people who value the same values that you do. So, your action plan, what can that look like? I want you to start by taking a hard look inwards and understand, well, what are your drivers? What are your boundaries? And then when you've done that, I want you to assess your professional environment. Is it compatible with your blend? Listen, Deep Wealth Nation, as the founder, business owner, entrepreneur, you can change the culture. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're a team member, you don't have that authority, find a way to make that happen. Speak to the right people, get a movement going in the company because the company will value you for that. Have the courage to set your own standards regardless of what's expected around you. Again, remember, the goal isn't to merely survive this juggling act, is to thrive where you're creating a life where work and personal joy are not at odds, but they're part of a greater whole. So let's get strategic, let's get intentional, and let's redefine success on our terms. That's the path to true wealth in business and life. So before we wrap up, let's start talking about the challenges and the pitfalls. Let's not beat around the bush on this one. We already talked about some of it. Let's expand that. As we dive into implementing work-life blending, really we're skating on thin ice with pitfalls and challenges all around us. They're lurking beneath the surface. So it's not just about navigating the complexities of integrating our personal and professional lives. It's also about knowing what to do, what to not do, really dodging those landmines that can sabotage both our success and our well-being. One of the biggest challenges, and Deep Wealth Nation, I'm going to call you on it, it's workaholism. I've been there. I suspect that you've been there. It's sneaky. It's like that thief in the middle of the night who's robbing you of your health, your fulfillment, and your joy. But here's the hard truth. Excessive work is a one-way ticket to burnout. Don't do it. All kinds of studies have repeatedly shown that workaholism, it burns you out. It's chronic stress. Your productivity goes down the tubes, and all kinds of other health issues go along with that. And the irony, we think we're climbing that ladder of success. We wear that badge of honor of I worked 100 hours this week, but we're digging ourselves into a much deeper hole, dare I say, even a grave. You're not going to be happy. Let's not do it. In addition to that, with smartphones and cloud computing, we can have work go with us anywhere, at any time, any place. But remember, we control the technology, not the other way around. Technology should be a tool, not a tyrant. And the challenge is enforcing clear boundaries to protect our time. With some of the clients as chief exit advisor that we're working with, we change the culture. We put it as a big frowned upon no-no for emails to be sent after work hours or on the weekend. The team, they're encouraged to take time off, to recharge, to take vacations without even checking in on emails. That's right, you heard that correctly. There's a whole other episode on why you want to do that, because when it comes time for business redundancy, your liquidity event, does a business run without you? Does a business run without some of the key employees? That's one great way of doing that. But it's now built into the culture that health is always first. And believe me, when you do that, the team members come back, they're recharged, they're so grateful, they love where they are because they know it's not like that in most other places. And at the same time, you have isolation. It's so ironic that today, through technology, we are more connected than ever before, but people now feel a higher sense of isolation than ever before. And the absence of these casual interactions or the camaraderie of a team, it takes a huge toll on mental health. We don't speak enough about that and the sense of belonging. So all of that said, what's the game plan here to navigate these landmines that can actually set you back, blow up the plan, take you to not such a good place? Firstly, let's recognize the signs of workaholism and take proactive steps. We're going to dial it back. Prioritize your tasks, delegate. Don't fall into the trap of equating hours worked with productivity. Second, fiercely guard your personal time and set strict boundaries around the work hours and unplugging from technology during off times. And third, really make a concerted effort to stay connected with your colleagues, your friends, your families. Perhaps it's virtual coffee breaks. Maybe you have co-working spaces. Maybe it's meetups. Maybe it's building a network that supports both your personal and professional life. So in the quest of the work-life blending, these challenges, these pitfalls, they're very real. They can be dangerous. But knowledge is power once you take action through strategies. And a dash of discipline, these challenges are definitely not insurmountable. In fact, it's the opposite. Tackle them head on, adapt and refine the approach as you go. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to survive, it's to thrive both in business and in life. So as we begin to wrap this up, the world of work-life blending, let's not forget why we're really here after all, Deep Wealth Nation is not just success in business, but it's a richness in life that comes from a well balanced existence. I've been on both sides of the road, and I can tell you firsthand success with fulfillment is the only way to go. All the accolades, all these zeros in the bank mean nothing if you're not fulfilled. So the road to achievement is not a straight shot. It's a winding path. It's up, down, over the bend, around the curve. It requires resilience, strategy, and determination. But here's the kicker: the data backs up all the effort. Research consistently shows that a well-balanced work-life dynamic, it boosts your productivity. It enhances your job satisfaction, your fulfillment. You're keeping burnout at bay. And when you achieve this blend, it's not wishful thinking. It's not a slapping a band-aid on the problem. It requires deep strategic thinking and an approach to how we structure our lives and our businesses. And again, that's where the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program comes into play. It's not your average run-of-the-mill course. It's a comprehensive, battle-tested program to help you tackle these challenges, these pitfalls that we've discussed. And what I love about the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap, it's as much about business as it is about the personal side. Business is personal, and that's where the fulfillment comes from. As I see all kinds of founders, business owners, entrepreneurs go through the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it really makes all the difference for them, where they get a new lease on their business life. They're having fun again. They figure out this work-life blend. It makes all the difference for them. So again, if you're tired of that constant tug of war between work demands, personal aspirations, it's giving you migraines, headaches, sleepless nights, please, please, please consider a new approach with the right strategies, some courage on your part, and a commitment to your own well-being. Because again, our first wealth is our health. That's where you can create a life that's not only successful, but deeply satisfying. So remember that the quest for a well-blended life, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes consistent effort, strategic thinking, and a willingness to adapt and grow. And at the same time, look to Deep Wealth Mastery and our 9-step roadmap as your North Star to give you the from the trenches strategies for your business, for your personal life, so you can win and feel great about it. So all of that said, I want this to be for you, your deep wealth, both in business and life. And all that said, as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. One last ask. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribes, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.